Spurs T-Wolves Friday night. Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs are 1 win away from the conference finals. Our senior writer, Anthony Slater, joining us now. Slater, game 6, which means 2 full days off for the first time this series. Will that be a factor?
Yeah, look, Anthony Edwards was practically glowing when I mentioned that fact to him, after game 5. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's played 40, 41, and 39 minutes the last 3 games. We know what he's gone through from a knee perspective, but it's not just the extra time. It's the extra attention that the Spurs are giving him that the Timberwolves are trying to solve. They threw 20 double teams at him in game 5. The Timberwolves had 5 turnovers. They went 6 of 15 shooting, and it was the same in their game 2 loss. And the other 2 problems that Minnesota's trying to solve during these off days is Jaden McDaniels foul trouble. Both of their blowout losses in the series, he strapped himself to the bench in foul trouble. And then the other thing is Julius Randle. Look, I think in a lot of ways his future is on the line, this summer with the franchise, and he's just not having a good series. 36% shooting, 8 assists and 18 turnovers in the 5 games. They just need him to solve it, for them to get back to San Antonio for game 7.
Glowing is crazy, but also very valid because all these guys could take the extra day off. All right, Slater, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Meantime, for us, it's Friday Junior, so let's have some fun. It's our hit game. Who said that? We're going to take a look at some quotes. Here we go.
I'm going to be cheap.
Let's go. King, it's your first time playing, so you're going to start us off. Who said, quote, in Africa, we say when kings go, kings come, and King went, and we have a little prince.
I know this answer.
I know the answer to this.
Okay, well, go off.
Dallas, Texas, Masai Ujiri.
Okay.
There you go.
That's easy.
That's a great quote.
With that many kings in the quote, our guy King had to get it.
When we say in Africa, we say, when kings go, kings come. And the king went, and we have a little prince here that we're going to turn into a king.
Love that.
Phenomenal.
Love that.
Right.
Shout out to the city.
Man, we wrote that for you, Masai.
No, he said that. Mark, you're up. I've never had a losing season. You're asking me about tanking. I don't see it in my future. I don't want to be part of it. Was it Draymond Green, Russell Westbrook?
Can't say Russell hasn't had a losing season, so you take him off, respectfully. I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown.
Okay, and the answer is?
I finally won.
Yay!
I've never had a losing season.
Yeah.
So, you asking me about tanking, I don't see it in my future.
You see him in the spirit tunnel? Never seen him smile so much. All right, Ramona.
Let's go.
Said, quote, taking care of a dog is way harder than taking care of a kid. Klay Thompson, Josh Hart, and Anthony.
That's easy. Y'all give it a layup.
I mean, it's got to be play, right? No,
We just saw the
Oh, the man with the
We just saw the puppy.
You're right. You're right. Okay, I finally got
the easiest one.
I mean, it's Clay.
Look at that good boy.
Take care of a dog definitely worse than a kid. It's way harder to take care of a kid.
He's got twins.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't either. I got 2
I don't know if
kids.
I agree with that.
Yikes.
Yeah.
You got a lot of. Oh, my baby got him in. He does. Y'all are lucky I haven't brought him in here yet. It's coming.
You need to.
It's forthcoming. Thank you. That combine rolls on in Chicago. All 30 NBA teams are there assessing the top players. It's a who's who of GMs in the building. Yesterday, top-ranked prospects AJ Devanza and Darren Peterson both made their case to go number 1.
I've been number 1 in the rankings since 9th grade, and I ain't dropped. So I'm not planning on dropping in the draft.
What makes you different as a potential NBA player?
Obviously my discipline. I'm willing to do anything to be the best me possible.
And you know what? I got to ask you, why should a team take you number 1?
I feel like I'm the best, and take a chance on me. I won't let you guys down.
All right, we're not at the Combine, so we brought the Combine to us. King McClure spent the week in Chicago watching very closely. So what are your biggest takeaways from watching Darren Peterson this week?
Well, it's the fact that he finally got in front of the camera and we finally get to hear from him. This is what we have been wanting to hear. We have not heard from him all season, no matter what's going on. You saw the antics. You saw everything that has happened throughout his career at Kansas. But we just want to hear from him. We want to hear what he has to say. We know that he's talented. We know that in the big moments he's going to step up and he's going to be ready to perform. But we want to hear from him. And for whatever reason that was, we didn't hear from him much. So to hear him be able to say, I feel like I'm the best. I feel like I should go number 1, right? Take a chance on me. I love the confidence because I think that right there exudes star. And I think he has that potential to be that moving forward.
Well, I sat in a room with him for about an hour last week, and I heard a lot from him. And it was interesting because I wasn't as close to it as you were all year, but I followed it enough to go, wow, he really, this is such a mystery. And the thing that I took most from it was he really did not know the answer. The reason he didn't talk is because he didn't know what to say. He did not know what was wrong with his body. He did not know why he had this cramping thing. And the full body cramp that he had at the beginning of the year, I think it scared the heck out of him, man. He told me he thought he was going to die on the table. So when you don't know why this is happening to you, it's hard to give anyone answers, let alone yourself. And so now that he has some clarity, or at least he believes he has clarity, okay, and I think that matters a lot. And one of the things he told me I think is going to matter a lot when we come down to this draft is he wants to play point guard in the NBA. I asked him what a player he admires the most. He said Devin Booker. I said, well, he's not a point guard.
Well, contradictory.
Yeah, he's a shooting guard, a combo guard. But if Darren sees himself as a point guard, the two teams that have the top 2 picks, Washington just traded for Trae Young, and Utah has Keontae George. So does that work together? Does Memphis sitting there at 3, which might be ready to move on from John Morant? Yeah. I know he doesn't want to be a 3rd pick. He really wants to be that number 1 pick. This group, they've all played each other for so many years. This draft class has been good for a long time. And in high school, they had battles. In AAU, they had battles. And so, like, these rankings that everybody's coming around to right now, this has been going on for 5 years.
Well, George, the star guard for the Jazz, after the draft lottery, he put his arm around DP.
Yeah.
So I think there's some chemistry going on there. Yep. But, I talked to a guy, executive from an NBA team today, and he said, remember that draft in 2021? I'm just read you some names. K, Jalen Green, Mobley, Suggs, Giddey, Kuminga, Wagner, Sengun, Jalen Johnson, Austin Reeves undrafted.
Yep.
He told me that this draft is as deep as that one.
Whoa.
So, which is saying a lot about how special this is. The Warriors have that 11th pick, and people wondering, like, hey, can they get in the Giannis mix? And from what I'm being told today from several people, the Warriors like to keep that pick.
Wow.
And I wonder if they could get your Dominican brother from Michigan.
Oh, my God. The Dominican LeBron?
Big Yaks.
The kid,
Please.
Mexican kid. That's going to be the first Mexican kid, Lopez. He'll be sitting there perhaps at 11. 11 also has somebody that always drops that you're surprised about. So, but I'm hearing this is 15 deep, which is very, very strong for any draft.
To that end, King, who do you feel raised their draft stock this week?
I got to take it to Waco, Texas.
Okay.
My Baylor brethren, Cam Carr. Listen, people, Cam Carr is a lottery pick. When you look at what he did at Baylor this year, averaged over 19 points per game, shot close to 50 from the field and 37 from 3. Look at how deep this is. Look at the range in which he shoots the ball. I mean, the elevation on his jumper, when he's straight up and down, it's automatic money, right? You're not contesting that. He measured it at 6'5" with a 7'1" wingspan.
He looked tall.
At the 2-guard position, the next level, I think he has every tool that you need in order to be a star, in order to be a guy that you can constantly rely on. And then look at what he did at the combine during the scrimmages yesterday. He didn't have to play. He's already guaranteed to be a top 20 pick. He did not have to play, but he said, hey, I'm going to be a competitor. I'm going to go out there and show everybody what I can do, right? His biggest focus was the defensive side because that was the biggest knock. But he went out there and showed that he is an NBA player. He looked like a legit NBA guy. And let's not forget, what he did at Baylor this year, he did without a point guard. So when you get to the NBA level and you're playing with NBA level playmakers and facilitators, Tunde is more of a 3. He's more of a 2-3, right? But he didn't play with a point guard. So when you're playing with NBA level facilitators and playmakers, complete game changers that will make him look like the star that he is, Cam Carr, people, is a star and he's a lottery pick.
Okay, period. I have one more for you, King, because I need your scouting report on one particular prospect. Take a look here. How did this guy do?
Oh boy. Did you even get one?
Come on up.
I got one.
Come on up.
So 24 inches on the standing vertical. And I have to say, I'm not trying to call anybody out, but that is 1 inch under Jackson Lindeborg. Jackson Lindeborg got 25 inches on his standing bird. I got 24.
That's his comp
I'm actually being so.
But how about like at your peak?
Probably about 28, 29. Probably.
Okay, period. That's a lot.
36, dog.
All right, the Warriors won the 11th pick in the NBA draft lottery on Sunday, which would be the highest pick in the draft since taking Jonathan Kuminga at 7th overall in 2021. Keep that in your notebook. Right now on ESPN.com, a must-read for NBA fans. Ray Thompson spent 11 months with Warriors head coach Steve Kerr, following alongside his season and decision to remain with the Warriors. So now we welcome in the 4-time New York Times bestseller, Wright Thompson. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome, MJ. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, Wright, it was well known that Steve Kerr's contract was up, and the decision on whether he would retire lingered for months. So what was the moment that changed his mind?
I mean, obviously the moment at the play-in game was very visible, but I also think that, there were a lot of factors at work here. I mean, there was loyalty. I think he just didn't feel right leaving if Steph was still there. I think, family things. Nick is on his staff, his son, and his wife certainly likes having the grandkids in town. But I think most of all, I don't think he really has a sense of himself without this job, and I guess more to the point, without a season. Like, I'm not sure he really could picture what his life would be like without the 82.
Well, that's understandable because Steve Kerr has spent over half of his life in the NBA as a coach and as a player, winning 9 total titles. But there were several instances where he thought this season was his last. So what did he reflect on to really decide to keep going?
Well, I certainly didn't realize this until I started reading about him and talking to him. But, the person we think of as Steve Kerr really came into the world on January 20th, 1984, when it was 2 days after his father had been assassinated. His father, it's well known, was the president of the American University at Beirut. Steve was a basically unrecruited bench warmer, averaging less than 6 points a game. Lute Olson admitted later that he was planning to recruit somebody else for Steve's spot, and they put him in that game sort of midway through the first half, and he just went off, and he started making all these shots. And it was his career high to that point. And, the basketball team became one of, if not the most important thing in his life. And so I think one of the things he really had to examine this year is what his life would be like stepping out of a world that he stepped into on January 20th, 1984.
There's so much nuance to his story, right? Going forward, what are his realistic goals for these final 2 seasons as the head coach of the Warriors?
Look, I mean, these guys think they can win. I think they last year or 2 years ago, I think if Steph doesn't get injured, they win that second playoff series. OKC is a lot of trouble, but these guys are fighters. And then I think the other goal is, to follow in the footsteps of the great Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool and hand this thing off to the next guy ready to win 4 more titles with a new coach and new stars and new everyone. So, I think that these are serious competitors, and it matters to all of them how they end the Curry era and begin whatever the next era is, which could start with this draft. You said they had the 11th pick, and I think this is an incredibly interesting time.
Right, real quick before we go, we're talking Warriors here, but that's a Lakers jersey behind you there on the chair, right? What jersey is that?
This is a Kurt Rambis jersey, and it reminds me to not chase, just to be a hard worker and to get down in the trenches. And so it's been on the back of my office. No one's ever noticed that. I forget that it's sitting there, but it's been there for 15 years. It's my Kurt Rambis jersey.
You some glasses.
Incredible. Some folks thought it was a LeBron jersey, perhaps. Hey, thank you so much, Wright. We appreciate you. And I encourage everyone to head to ESPN.com for insight, not only into Steve Kerr's coaching decisions, but also the trauma and tribulations he's endured throughout his life that have shaped him as the person he is today. Incredible storytelling, Wright. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, and shout out Kurt Rambis.
Hey. All right, Wemby and the Spurs.